YCN, your local view on WVBK-CA, serving Manchester, Londonderry, Vermont, and South Charlestown, New Hampshire, and WVBQ-LP, serving Charlestown, New Hampshire, and Rockingham, Vermont.
Coming up tonight, the latest on Hurricane Sandy, how it has affected the Twin State area, and when the storm might finally wind down. A closer look at a fire in Elkin section of New London. We'll also have highlights from last weekend's Gridiron Showdown between Kearsarge and Stevens High School. We'll hear about the annual substance-free graduation party in Lebanon, and Spec Bowers will complete his interview.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth-Lake Sunapee region. News, sports, weather, public affairs, and all that is happening in our area. The YCN News Hour, your local view.
Good evening, I'm Lynn Solomon filling in for David Carmichael, and welcome to the YCN News. Vermont and New Hampshire operated under states of emergency yesterday as government officials began responding to power outages and property damage wrought by Hurricane Sandy's fierce winds. Every member of the Vermont State Police was placed on active or standby duty at 5 p.m., along with the Vermont National Guard. Governor Lynch put 100 New Hampshire Guard soldiers on active duty, and utilities secured crews from Canada and a number of states as they prepared for prolonged power outages and tree damage. 2 swiftwater rescue teams, including one belonging to the Hartford Fire Department, were activated. Public Service of New Hampshire reported almost 100,000 customers without power. Numerous schools across the state were closed, and flights were canceled at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport and by Cape Air out of Lebanon. The Upper Valley and Kearsarge areas saw the first significant signs of the storm around 5 p.m. last night, with winds and rain picking up around 8 p.m. The Twin States were battered by the worst part of the storm overnight. Major concerns revolved around winds and electricity. Sandy's gusts whipped up to 80 miles per hour in some parts of Vermont, felling trees, knocking down power lines, and wreaking other damage that created many power outages. Rain and flooding is a lesser concern at this time as compared to last year's devastating Hurricane Irene. The Connecticut River crested at about 10 feet, about a third of Tropical Storm Irene's levels last year. Felled trees were abundant throughout the Upper Valley, including on Route 14 in West Hartford and Route 5 in Springfield. Firefighters in Claremont had shut down part of Jarvis Hill Road after a tree fell across power lines. A home on Elkins Road in New London caught fire after dark last night. Owner Kitty Pongratz said, "It started in the wall and was unrelated to the weather." The fire spread up the wall and around the fireplace in the living room. New London Fire Chief Jason Lyons stated that the owner was very lucky. Because of the storm, the fire station was manned and the crew was able to get there in time to save a lot of the structure. But most importantly, the personal contents that would have been irreplaceable. Hurricane Sandy has a trick to play for Halloween's trick-or-treating festivities. Some New Hampshire towns have rescheduled the holiday tradition to the weekend because of the storm. Check your local town websites or call their offices to check for cancelizations or rescheduled dates. New Hampshire's moose hunt season wrapped up over the weekend, and numbers were down from last year. Fish and Game officials say this year's hunters had 62% success rate during the 9-day-long season. Last year's numbers were about 10% higher. The state's biologist says a smaller moose population and this fall's unusually warm weather are behind the lower numbers. 174 hunters shot moose in this year's hunt out of the 281 permits that were issued. A crash during training with the U.S. freestyle team near Zermatt, Switzerland on October 5th left Hannah Carney injured with 2 fractured ribs and a bruised liver, among other injuries. Back home for a rest in Norwich, Vermont, Carney will rest up until heading to a team camp in Colorado next month. After the break, we'll hear what the next few days of weather has in store for us, catch up with local sports action and community events.
The YCN News Hour continues in a moment.